So, Michael Sadler, how's it going with your career nowadays? I see you got a new album coming out, this weekend or something like that?
Yeah, the official release I believe is on the 24th here in Canada. It was released on the 7th in Europe, and things are going really well. Yeah,
This recording, who's all playing on this album for Saga?
it's the original band with the exception of the drummer. We have a new drummer by the name of Mike Thorne, but it's the original band.
This album, would you say is, with recording quality and digital stuff has been a big difference compared to the 80s and like all the classic stuff you've did?
It's just the today's technology merely makes it a bit easier to record, but the same approach to the songwriting is the same for sure.
How did you go in writing the songs?
Well, writing is always done prior to going in the studio, and you rehearse for a while, and then you make sure that the songs are ready. Because I mean, studios can get expensive, so you try and be as prepared as possible. So once you get into the studio, the songs are pretty much ready to record.
How far are you guys gonna go this summer for playing gigs and stuff?
Well, our tour schedule is getting fuller by the second. We have a show in Toronto. It really kicks off with a show in Toronto on Friday. It's kind of this the CD release party, as it were, and then we've got some shows, I believe, coming up out in the east. A couple of shows in Quebec, Oshawa coming up. We're going out not too far west, just up into Manitoba, I think, to do some festivals. Then we're off to Germany to do some summer festivals, and then a small break until the fall when we have our the big tour in Europe.
Is it easier to tour now?
It's never easy to tour, and I mean, there's some things that you just get used to and to expect, but hotels haven't changed, buses haven't changed. The fun part of what we do for a living is that an hour and a half or 2 hours every night when we go on stage. So touring is not in the beginning it was fun, when you're young and you're going to different countries and there's culture shock and getting used to the whole traveling planes, trains and automobiles kind of thing. But after a while, that the touring side of it becomes very quite boring actually until you go to a new territory. So it's really all about getting on stage each night.
Now for a set list and stuff, you guys got a big catalog of music. Where you guys go into dig in what songs going to be playing in an evening?
Well, with this tour, we're kind of trying to do as much of a mix of everything as possible. We're doing some older songs that either we've never played live or ones that we haven't played for a very long time. Some more recent things, a few surprises, an acoustic moment, and a couple of tracks. 2 tracks for now from the new album because the new album is still really fresh. So you don't want to play too much of the new album until people get used to it. So for now we're doing 2 of the new ones, but it's a pretty eclectic mix of the past 35 years of what we've recorded.
Now today's media world, what do you think of that? Because now we got Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff.
It can be great. It can, like anything, if it's abused, it's a terrible tool. But it's great, especially for independent young artists coming up, and even for ourselves and veterans that have been in the business for a long time. It's the best thing about it is the connection with the audience and being able to see what the fans are talking about, and I think it's brilliant. And like I say, it's a great vehicle. YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and that it's a great vehicle for independent young talent coming up to as a way of showcasing their songwriting and what they do for in the musical world. So.
And today too, let's say you're going to play a concert. Could be the 10 minutes after you started your show, your stuff's already going to be footage on YouTube.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think you can either take offense at that or realize that there's nothing you can do about it, and that is the way of the world right now. And just if you've got nothing to hide, I mean, we love going on stage, and we've got I don't think there's such thing as bad footage. I actually welcome it when I stand in front of an audience. I say, does anybody have a cell phone with recording ability in it? And everybody kind of is shy about it. I say, no, seriously, I want you to, because the more footage, the better. And if it gets plastered all over YouTube and Facebook, that's fine.
Because then it's creating also a souvenir for the fans.
Of course it is, and it's raising the level of awareness of the band. So I take no offense at it whatsoever. You can, like I say, you can either get mad at it, but there's nothing you can do about it, or you embrace it and realize that it's a great marketing tool.
Now, your artwork for this album, whose design was this one?
This was actually, strangely enough, it was just for a laugh. Our guitar tech put those two images together. He found that old image of the old iMachine, and took an old photo of Albert Einstein and photoshopped the two together. And he just sent it through as an email just for a laugh. And Jim Crichton, the bass player, and I looked at it and we thought that would make a great album cover. And from there, it just, we never looked back. It was the album cover we decided on as soon as we saw it. You could pay thousands and thousands of dollars to someone to come up with some artwork, and sometimes it's as simple as what happened with this one.
And it does the job. It's great.
Yeah, it's a strong image, and it really says it all. It's 2020. It has something to do with vision. So yeah.
When you look at the whole music in general, like in 2012, what do you think of it? Is it getting better, or is it getting stale in a sense? In general, all
I think
music.
I think it's been stale for quite some time, especially since the advent of companies like Clear Channel controlling all the radio that you hear, and radio is not what it used to be. Although I think there's a bit of a renaissance going on when I see kids, high school age kids wearing Van Halen shirts and Led Zeppelin shirts. That tells me that they're sick of the Justin Biebers and the Lady Gagas and all the rap in the world, and they're discovering this really cool music, probably through their parents, of real musicians playing real instruments, and they can hear and feel the difference, and they're there's a whole new generation getting turned on to really good rock music, and I think it's really encouraging. Like I say, it's become so stale, and I think these young boys especially, they don't want to like Justin Bieber. They want to hear rock and roll, and they're discovering it through their parents, and it's great. There's a whole new generation discovering good music again.
Do you think it's going to go in a loop that it's going to get big time popular again, like rock in general?
I do. I think it always does. If you follow musicology through the decades, it tends to do that. Things resurface every once in a while, every 10 or 15 years. A style will come back, called something else, but based on an original style. So I do think so. I think generally the public is sick of being told what to listen to and dictated to by what's on the airwaves. And they want to make up their own minds, and they're discovering real talent that isn't being necessarily pushed on modern radio. So
keeping your voice healthy throughout the years and playing night after night. Let's say when you're on tour, how do you keep your voice, as good? Because it's an instrument in a sense, and you have to keep it tuned.
Absolutely. I should do more for it. I'm not a typical singer in that sense. I've been very, very lucky. I do very little for my throat. I don't warm up before a show. I smoke, which I shouldn't, but I always have. And I don't know. I'm very lucky. Maybe it's because I was taught to sing properly. I was in a church choir from the age of 8 till I was about 15. So we were taught at that time to sing from the diaphragm, not through your throat. And again, part of it's being lucky. I've had to cancel one show in 35 years, and that was because I had laryngitis, and it was just for one day. So, I can't explain it. Most singers have to be very, very careful of their throats and how many shows, they do in a row and that kind of thing. I can basically, I can do 5 in a row. I'd rather not, but I'm able to. But I need a day off after 5 in a row. That's for sure.
Because you can only imagine, let's say, the younger bands that have to play every single night of the week, and they can't take breaks if they're sick. Also, how strong that'd be on them.
Well, I mean, you can take a break if you like, but you're going to forfeit the cash for that night. It's
right.
As simple as that, So when you're struggling in the beginning, you can't afford to have an off night, so you kind of power through it, even if your voice is, in bad shape. You still play, and you just something about it when sometimes it's mind over matter, and you're backstage and you can be feeling really, really crappy. And then as soon as they turn down the house lights and you hear the people and you walk on stage, it kind of all goes away. And somehow you get through it, and you rise above it, and you probably feel a lot crappier after the show than when you went on stage. But you do it. The show must go on, and you owe it to the people that paid their hard-earned money to come and see you. So you power through it.
Excellent. Well, Michael Sadler, I really appreciate you taking the time in this interview, and great to see 2020. That's going to be released in Canada July 24th.
Absolutely.
Look forward to seeing another one in the future.
Absolutely. Not going to stop until someone tells us to.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, you have an excellent evening.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
It's a pleasure. Bye-bye.